Aloha kakahiaka. My name is Ruby Maunakea. I'm a volunteer producer with Olelo, and we're here this morning with Uncle Roy Benham. We're at the Hawaii Kai retirement home, and he's demonstrating how to make a halalei. He'll explain more about it and the reasons for it, and how he goes to Namea, Hawaii once a week, or as many times as he can find hala.
Yeah.
And so, Uncle Roy, go ahead and demonstrate.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that this is the fruit of the hala tree. And the hala is more important for its leaves. Lau hala. L-A-U is a Hawaiian word for leaf. So this is lau hala, and this is the fruit of the hala tree. Now the Hawaiian word for fruit is hua. So this is a hua hala, okay? And we make the lei out of this fruit. The Hawaiians use this lei for when you're going through a new phase of your life, for graduation, promotion, birthdays. Politicians can wear it when they get elected. They're not supposed to wear it when they're running because their life hasn't changed until they get elected.
In the old days, we used to think of it as hala, passing away. I'm glad you shared that.
Well, the reason for that is they also use this lei for funerals. You're going to a new phase of your life. You're going to heaven is a new phase, and they want you to have good luck. So this lei is supposed to give you good luck. A lot of Hawaiians will put the hala lei in the casket, knowing that it dries nicely, you know. But some people think just because they use it at a funeral, it's not good luck, you know. And what, a funeral is bad luck? No, it's not, you know.
So if I want to buy this for my granddaughter graduating,
Yeah,
this
it's a good deal. It's helping her in a new phase of her life as a graduate, you know.
How long does it take you to make one of these?
Well, depending on the size. See, these are the very small keys. Usually the keys are larger. Here's a key, for example, a dried key, and look how much bigger that is than this. Now, for this small one, it takes around 60.
Oh, yes.
But for a big one, it'll take around 40. By the way, when this dries, the Hawaiians use this as a paintbrush.
Yeah, we used to collect it as kids and just play with it. Yeah.
Now, when these get dry, it won't dry like this, it'll just dry solid. The only place you can find these is underneath the tree. See, when the fruit is on the tree, and it gets really, really ripe, soft. See, this is only half ripe. When it gets really, really ripe, it begins to fall down, and it falls on the ground, and then it dries like this. So the teachers who use this in their classroom, the elementary school teachers, they look for a tree that has a fruit that's ripe and falling, and they go and pick these out. And they get one for each student, and the student takes it and scrapes the pulp off and makes a paintbrush. See? Then they paint a picture in the class.
In olden days, they used to paint kapa with it?
Yes, the Hawaiians painted their kapa because they wanted to make it a dark color. Now, you see on these hala trees, hala fruit, there's these leaves that grow on the fruit. And it gets real dark brown. So what the Hawaiians did is they put this leaf in boiling water and made a dye and painted their tapa with that dye. Now I like to ask Hawaiian people, how did the ancient Hawaiians boil water?
Well, I think you shared that, but I'll let you tell it.
Well, a lot of the people are not aware, but what they do is, because remember, the Hawaiians had no metal, no pots. When Captain Cook arrived, the first thing they saw was a pot and the knife. They said, here, take my feather cloak, give me that knife. you know. But anyway, what the Hawaiians did is they took a wooden bowl. They took a wooden bowl and filled it with water, and then they went to the imu. And I think they did it when they knew the husband was kaluing a pig, you know, during kalua pig, and they took the hot rocks and put in the bowl, so the water was boiling, and that's how they made boiling water. So.
Very interesting. And your tools that you're working with now, can you describe?
Well, this is a box knife. Huh?
And you don't get cut with it.
No, because I'm always cutting down. I'm not cutting up with it, and I'm cutting away from my fingers. But I knock on wood anyway, you know. See, I'm cutting down, not up. Mm-hmm. Now, if you go down Maunakea Street, you'll find a challah lei, but not like this. What they do is they take a challah, and they take a regular knife, a big, stronger knife, and cut the ends to flatten the end. Then they figure out where this hard part is. See, when I cut it now, I'm cutting around this hard shell. This is where the seed is in this plant, so when it grows, the seed comes up. What they do is they figure out where this hard shell ends. See, you can see the dark brown there, that's the hard shell. They figure out where it ends, and they take their knife and just make one cut. Yeah, let's see if I did it right. Yeah, I did it right. See? They make a block like that. Of course, with the challah they use, the block is much bigger than that. But then that's how they make it. It's easy. Then they string it with lawai in between.
So theirs doesn't have these points?
No, they don't have the points on it. This way of making a challah lei was taught to me by a friend of mine, and I've forgotten his name. When you're 91 years old, you forget names. He was from Maui, from Hana Maui, and if you've ever been to Hana Maui has plenty of challah, and he called this the Hana cut. After he was teaching me it for a little while, I said, "You sure this is not the Hana cut?" You know, because it takes a lot of effort. I've taught this to in a number of groups. I've taught them how to do this, and I've told them that what it takes is practice. You have to practice, and eventually you get it down to a science and it works it right. But a lot of them say, too much work. I'd rather cut it the other way, more easy.
So that's the wahine tree, and this.
Yeah, there's a male tree. The challah tree comes in a male tree and a female tree. The female tree has the hua, has the fruit. The male tree has the flower, the hinano. This is not a very good picture. You see these white petals here. Those are the petals. When the thing is first blooming, it has much more petals. A lot of the petals have fallen off this picture. But I always like to tell the females that this female tree can have this fruit all by itself. Don't need the male tree. And a lot of the women, they say, hey, way to go. But there's a but to that.
There's a but.
If the fruit is formed on a tree that's all by itself, and you try to plant it, because the way you grow this tree is you plant this petal. If you try to plant it, it won't grow. It needs this hinano before, while this is forming, the hinano has to be there. And that makes the men feel much better. You know? So, but we like, this lei is good fun, and it lasts for about 2 weeks. And then it starts to dry slowly on the tips, on the edges, to the point where I don't want to wear it anymore, and I hang it on a picture in the house And in 2 weeks it dries completely. Excuse me, I'm sorry, in 2 months it dries completely. I'm sorry, 2 months. And when it dries like that. Now a lot of my friends, what they do is they take that and they spray it with clear lacquer, which gives it a nice shine, and they make a hat lei out of it. They have to cut the ribbon and make it shorter. And some of them dry better than this, better shape, you know. So it's a lei that you never toss away. So
even if you want to put it on the grave for Memorial Day, it'll be thrown out by the...
Yeah. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to use this kind of lei for that. For that purpose, any lei would be... Actually, one of the most common leis on that day is a plumeria. You know, in the ancient days, the Hawaiians planted the plumeria trees in the graveyards because it always bloomed, and there was a nice vision, nice to see the graveyard full of flowering trees. So, but I'm sort of convinced that the ancient Hawaiians, prior to the discovery of the islands by the Caucasians, by Captain Cook, that they didn't use this lei for hala. They didn't make lei out of this because they didn't have any knives. I don't know how they would be able to cut it. But once they got the knives, they figured out they could make a hala lei as they have today, you know. This hala is edible. When it's ripe, you can eat it. And what you do is you pull it between your teeth like artichoke, because you don't want to eat all this fiber. It's just the pulpy part. But the ancient Hawaiians use this as starvation food. It doesn't have any particular taste. It's like poi or rice or potatoes. You eat it with something. So, but you know, the Tongans and the Samoans who have come by and seen me using this hala, they make a couple of comments. One, they say the hala here is awfully small. In Samoa and Tonga, they raise them, they get bigger, and they eat them regularly. And one of the Samoans told me that they boil it slightly. So, I guess it all depends how you develop your taste for it. So anyway, that's the hala.
You were doing this for a number of years at Namea?
Yes, I go down to Namea, as you say, when I have hala available. Sometimes I go down there 3 times a week, but I try to go down there at least once a week to demonstrate and show the visitors and even local people how the hala was being used by the ancient Hawaiians, you know. Oh, and the hala tree comes in 3 colors. Orange, yellow, and there's a red. The red is really red. See, this is the orange thing, and here's the orange and yellow together. The red one is rarest.
It's overripe, or is it just a special?
It's just a certain tree, yeah. And the thing is, you can't tell what color the plant is. If you go to the nursery and you want to buy a hala tree, because the plants all look the same.
Right.
Not only that, you can't tell which color the tree is, the plant is, but you can't tell whether it's male or female. I remember one time I planted I went down to the store and I bought a hala tree and I planted it, and it grew real nice, male tree, no fruit. And my Hawaiian friend told me, next time you want to buy a hollow plant at a nursery, have a wahine pick it out. So at least they'll pick the wahine tree, you know. But I don't know about that.
Yeah. Does a hinano have a smell to it?
Not that I was aware of. I think when it's first ripe, there is an odor to it. But the hala itself, when it's really ripe, has a real nice odor. It's real pungent, and people really like the odor. This is not ripe enough. See, I have to use a hala that's half ripe. I can't use a ripe hala. It's too soft to make hale. And when I'm driving down the street and I see a hala tree with fruit on it, I stop and ask the owner if I can have the hala. And 99% of them say, sure, take it, take it. And basically because when it gets really ripe like that and falls to the ground, it attracts the flies. So they don't want flies in their yard, so they go ahead and help yourself. So, and a lot of people like to plant this tree basically for two reasons. One, it's not a rubbish tree. You know, the leaves are long, and when it dries, it falls down, easy to pick up, keep the yard clean. And the other reason is that the trunks have thorns, so the children don't climb it. You know, they don't have to worry about children climbing their trees in their yard. So it was a very valuable tree to the Polynesian culture.
But they have some thornless trees too, the leaves.
Huh?
Thornless.
Well, now they have hybrids. They've developed hybrid trees that not only are they thornless, but they're fruitless. And some of them, I don't know how they did it, but the leaves are two colors, like yellow and green leaves, you know. The basic hala that the Hawaiians had was just green leaves. But somehow or other they did that. These horticulturalists, they do all kinds of things. So you can see those hybrid trees.
I heard, or not sure if my auntie told me that the hinano, I don't know if they're dried first or cut in pieces. They stuff pillows
Oh, really?
with the hinano because
Oh.
there's a smell, a
No
certain
kidding.
smell.
I'll be
I
darned.
don't know if it's dried first, like I said.
It must be. They must let it dry.
Hala, covering,
Oh,
not just put it in a pillowcase, but you know, with a lauhala woven pillowcase.
I'll be
There's a
darned.
smell to it that
I was not aware of that.
increased your sex drive, let's say.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's true.
Huh. I know, I've not heard of that before. My grandmother always had a holiday on New Year's. You know, in the old days, they always had a luau on New Year's Day. And whenever Grandma went to one of those luau's, she always had a holiday on, you know, it was the beginning of the new phase of her life. Yeah. I'll be darned, I didn't know about that pillow thing. And it came from the flower, the hinano. Oh.
I guess maybe they crushed it, or I'm not sure. They cut it up, you know, with more of the smell would.
And I'm not aware of the odor of the hinano. The next time I see a tree with hinano, I'm going to make sure I go smell it. But this has the odor, you know, it's really nice. It's a really nice, sharp odor, pungent. So there.
And then after this, what do you do? Take a needle? and-
Yeah, a lay needle, because see, I'm making the lay out of this fiber part, not the hard shell.
Mm.
You can't. If you want to do anything with this shell, you see where the shell is. The
Yes.
color is dark brown. What some people do is they wait for this to dry completely, and then they sand it So it dries a light tan, but they sand it down to that dark shell there, so you get a two-tone thing, tan and dark brown. And in order to make a lei out of it, they have to drill a hole. You got to drill and drill it, because you can't poke a needle through here.
Oh.
Hard.
Yeah, that's the hard.
But where you can through here, I just use a lei needle to go through this, to make this lei. And then I always like to tie it with a tea leaf bow, because the bow is, tea leaf is always good luck too, so the good luck of the challah and the tea leaf you can't miss, you know. One of the things that's happening nowadays is the aphids have discovered this fruit.
Oh, okay.
And I've been doing this for about, maybe 15 years now. But it's only been in the last 5 years that the aphids begin to crawl on there. And I guess they get the sap from here. It doesn't hurt the fruit at all, because what I do is before I use it, I wipe off all the aphids and their white, their shells or whatever it is. So, I'll be down the pillow thing.
But besides doing this, you also decorate the Luna Lila home.
Well,
with flowers, with the coconut.
I do voluntary work at Luna Lila Home.
You've been doing that. You love flowers and plants.
Yeah.
For a number of years, you've been doing that.
And one of the things, the Kamehameha School's office building, they get flowers every 2 weeks rather. And at the end of 2 weeks, I go down there and I get the arrangement, because red ginger and other flowers, they're usually still in good shape, so I take it up to Luna Lilo and arrange it for them in their TV room. And the kupuna tell me how to fix it, you know, up there. Yeah. Oh, and one of the flower stores used to donate flowers to Luna Lila Home every week. I guess it's the flowers that they won't be able to sell anymore.
Oh, and then you combine
And then I fix that, arrange that for them. But I've helped some of the staff arrange flowers, and so they can do it real good now. They don't need me anymore.
Oh. But also every January there's a luau at Luna Lila Home, and this past January you were honored there.
Yeah, Ostender and I were honored for the...
What award was that? And
this has a Hawaiian name. It actually was the first award. They just started that award. And so Ostender and I were the first recipients of that award, but they're going to give it every year to people who do a lot of service. There's a group of Hawaiian women who go up there now and arrange flowers too. So that's really good. We made them aware of it.
I think we took a little short video of you up there, but it was pretty noisy.
Oh.
And, how did you feel about being the first recipient with
Well, it was good. You know, I felt honored. I didn't think it was really necessary, but they wanted to do that. I lived in Hawaii Kai, and I had some friends who were residents of Lunalilo, so I started going up there, and they needed some help in the yard. So I worked in their yard for quite a bit, planted a lot of things up there that are growing nicely. Fortunately, I don't have to go up there as often now, because mostly the plants are large now and they can take care of themselves. Yeah.
You also come from an illustrious family, your brothers.
Well, yeah, my
Share
brother
about
Clayton was athletic. We was a tennis champion of Hawaii.
Way back when.
Yeah, at one time, and he also was instrumental in helping form the ILH and the two high school leagues now, the private school league and the public school league. So, but you know, Luna Little Home at one time was located near where Roosevelt High School is. And back in the late 20s and 30s, the people who lived up in Manoa and Makiki were having to send their children down to McKinley High School, and it was kind of far away. And they thought, where do they have another public high school up here? And they said, well, where would we build it? Look, all the land is used. Well, there's that home for Hawaiian, elderly Hawaiians. Can you get that? What are we going to do with them? And I don't know, somebody in that group of big shots who were discussing this was aware that the wireless station in Hawaii Kai, Moanalua, they used to call that, was being vacated, and they said, we can move them up there. And they said, oh, good idea. So they moved them up there, and they built Roosevelt High School. And the story goes that before the school opened, one of them said, you know, we opened the Roosevelt High School here. Those people up there on the hill, they're going to come to this school. Papakolea, all the Hawaiians lived up there. I don't know. Gee, it would be better if they don't come to this school. How can? And somebody said, I know what. We'll require that they speak English. Make them speak English. And that was the start of the first English standard school. They had it for high school, and they had it for intermediate and some elementary schools. And in that group of planners, they were all movers in the community at that time. There was an admiral and a general. And they said, hey, what about us, elementary school? Our children have to go to Kalihiuka and Kalihikai, holy mackerel. So they built Kapalama. That was the English Standard School. That was the only English Standard School in the Kalihi area, you know. It was so racial. And they got rid of it finally. But anyway, I was born and raised in Kahuku. And when I was a kupuna in the elementary schools, I did some studying of Hawaiian history, and I read a book that talked about the older towns of Oahu, and they talked about Kahuku. And you won't believe this, but the article said that Kahuku was known as the land of the hala tree. And I figured, oh, that's where I got it from then, you know. But when I come to think of it, there was quite a bit of hala over there. It was dry, you know. Yeah. And it was the only kind of tree that would survive. So, anyway.
Too bad there's no hala tree on this property, or is there?
Huh?
Hala trees?
No, no more. No hala tree on this property. No more. And there's only one plumeria. You know, there's one plumeria that grows. It's the white one, the Singapore. And that's the one plumeria flower. You can't make lei out of it because it dries up real fast. So they plant that all over the place because then they know that people aren't going to come and pick plumerias. Because if you have a yellow plumeria tree, you always have people coming wanting to pick the yellow, you know. Anyway. My name is Roy Benham. I was born and raised in Kahuku Plantation on the island of Oahu. My father was a plantation store manager. My mother was a school teacher at the Kahuku school in the old days. Actually, my mother comes from a Hawaiian family. We're related to the Cocketts and the Safries. Now, mother and dad, well, father came to Hawaii in World War I, and he met this part Hawaiian woman, and they got married, and they had 5 children. I had an older sister, Eula, who is gone already, and I had an older brother, Clayton, and he's also gone. And then I was the third, I was the middle. And I have a younger brother, Howard, who lives on Maui with his wife now, and he's with his 2 daughters who live on Maui. And my younger sister, Eloise, who we used to call Lou all the time, she's being taken care of now by her daughter, Puno, Tuanei, who lives here in Hawaii, in Aina. Basically, and then I met my wife in when I graduated from high school in 1941, the year of the war. So we were all in the war, and it was 5 years after 5 years I got out of the service, and I went back to the University of Hawaii, and all of our girls were gone. There were younger girls there, and that's basically how I met my wife, Jackie. She was a younger girl, and we got to know each other well. She was well known at the University of Hawaii. She graduated from the University of Hawaii. I couldn't go to school in Hawaii any longer. I went to California and graduated from the University of California, Berkeley. And then I got a job teaching at Kamehameha, and I renewed my acquaintance with my wife, and we got married, and while I was teaching at Kamehameha. And we have you might see a picture of a contest, a Halloween dance that Jackie and I went to. We were dressed as the King and Queen of Hearts. The students really liked that. We had 2 children. Our daughter Sarah, named after my mother-in-law, Sarah Booth. And then my younger daughter was Chrissy. And Chrissy has 2 daughters, McKenna and Olivia. My older daughter Sarah had 1 son, Christopher, my only grandson. And he's now in Santa Cruz in California right now. And those are my family, my immediate family. When Mufi Hanneman was running for mayor, I did the decorations for him. I used to decorate his car every time he went on a campaign trip. So I was fortunate that he got elected, and I have a picture there of Mufi and I. He appointed me to the Commission on Culture and the Arts for the city, and I served on that for 7 years, and recently retired from that. But basically, that's my family.